Escape the room employees. What is the weirdest thing you've seen someone do in one of the rooms? Actual escape room employee here. One couple couldn't agree on how to solve the puzzles and broke up inside the room. Another couple had the guy surprise the girl with a proposal. Another couple got a horror-themed escape room and just sat on the floor and cuddled. They didn't look scared. They didn't bother to solve anything either. They just cuddled with all the creepy props and sound effects surrounding them. I guess they couldn't find a creepy motel to cuddle in. Escape room, the ultimate relations tester. And what a shitty place to propose. We've had around 3 proposals in the escape room so far. The first one was really nice. The guy met us weeks beforehand and asked us to personalize our prettiest escape room. All the clues were about their relationship, like where they first met, first kiss, etc., and at the end of it all was the ring. The second was shitty. We were not informed at all. The girl was chained and blindfolded in a small black box room. No idea why he thought that would be a good place to propose. The third was Hello Kitty themed. I just heard about it from my coworkers, but why? The first one is actually genius. Started working in an escape room around 3 months ago. This is not really a weird thing, but more a cute one. One day a dude called and told us he was proposing to his girlfriend and that they were both huge fans of escape rooms, so my boss and came up with a cool idea how we could change our escape room to make it more romantic, and that at the end of the escape they wouldn't find the key of the room but the ring and a bottle of champagne. We also told the dude the solutions of some of the puzzles to make sure they would actually come to the end of the room. It was the cutest thing I have ever seen. The way these two worked together in the room and how excited the dude was when they found the ring and the champagne at the end and he asked to marry her. They were both in tears. So were my boss and I. She said yes. After that they stayed with us for a bit before heading their own way. It is still one of my favorite evenings and one of the reasons I love my newfound job so much. You have to agree to marry me so we can escape the room, because of the implication. At our establishment, we have a room called Jailbreak with a fake door towards the very end. It's covered with plywood. This girl takes one look at it and says, "Jailbreak," and charges the door full force and breaks through. I mean, I guess she figured it out, right? If it's a stupid idea and it works, then it's not a stupid idea. Someone cleared all the boxes and locks off of a table in the corner, laid down on it, and went to sleep until the group escaped. Reminds me of my group projects in college. I went to a space-themed escape room and there was a spacesuit and I put it on. It didn't help us solve anything. When we finished I asked, do people normally put the suit on? The guy said, it's not against the rules, but you're the first person to do it. Edit. This was in Texas. It wasn't the opening, but it was relatively new. They only had 2 rooms at the time. The place is called Escape. It was a team-building exercise for a school thing we were doing. We finished with 5 minutes left of 45 to complete the puzzle. I'd recommend looking them up. Can't blame you. We give people a box for them to bring in, so they can store their belongings while they play. One time, about halfway in, an inquisitive older man started going through their own stuff. He pulled out a purse and shouts, guys, I found some. This is our stuff, isn't it? It was hilarious. I had the exact opposite experience. I was playing an escape room and my group all ignored an iPad that was sitting on a table because we all assumed it belonged to one of us. Like most rooms, we have cameras all throughout the game so we can keep any eye on players, give hints based on what puzzle they're on, and watch out for any shenanigans. So ours is a prison-themed escape. At one point there are 3 cells that need to be opened in order. One of them has a live actor in it that messes with you the entire time, even after you rescue him. Anyway, each cell is pretty much the same, with a toilet, shelf, and a few other items. One guy was pretty drunk and repeatedly put bones and other shit in his pants to get a laugh out of his teammates, but they stopped paying attention to him while trying to actually make their escape. He must have gotten bored being so drunk and not caring about the escape room. He leaves the main group and heads back to his prison cell area. I'm watching on the cameras and see he's not with the rest of the group. So I start clicking around trying to find Hi Monsieur. Sure enough, he's in a jail cell hovering over a toilet, taking a piss. There's no plumbing. They're definitely just props. We shut their game down on the spot. His group was not happy with him at all. After they left, I had the pleasure of soaking up his piss with a mop little by little. And it was after that night we added that anyone visibly intoxicated will not be allowed to participate rule. At least he went in a toilet. Should have had a "these are not functioning toilets" sign. Just started working at Escape the Room and we have rules about not jumping out the windows and not sticking keys into wall sockets because it has all happened before. Technically, if you jump out of the window you do escape the room. And if you stick metal in electric sockets, you win on escaping life. Former escape room. Not escape the room. Employee: everything everyone else has said absolutely believable. People are unbelievably destructive. I've seen people rip outlets out of walls. We had to warn them not to stick keys in. Dismantle furniture and electronics. Pull vent covers off the air ducts. Physically bend back file cabinet drawers to get around the lock. They'll write all over all the clues. Even deliberately go against the rules you set because they think you were trying to trick the monsieur. We had a group reset the password on our computer, so we had to wipe it and reinstall everything. Lesson learned for the game makers. Always have an admin account. A woman decided to literally throw every non-clue glass object into a trash can, leaving me with 10 minutes to reset the room and clean up a mountain of broken glass. A favorite was, she said not to use the fire extinguisher unless there's a fire. And this says, warning, flammable, single quote. But the weirdest thing is the waves of groupthink asterisk. It's noticeable to everyone. My boss even warned me about it my first day. A meaningless picture might be hanging on the wall, completely ignored by every group for months. Until suddenly, you have a wave of 10 groups in a row who take it off the wall and dismantle it. Because they've become convinced it means something. They'll draw new conclusions from a note that have never been drawn before. And the game makers never intended. They'll follow the same incorrect process for solving a puzzle that we haven't seen before. Or make the same arithmetic decryption errors. They'll misread things the same way. Even mishear audio clues the same way. As in, repeat the same nonsense words to describe what they heard. They'll physically destroy the same props, locks, or set pieces game after game. And then it will stop. And no one will do that thing again for months. Maybe it's confirmation bias. Maybe it's little factors like how I deliver my speech that day or the weather. I don't know, but it is undeniably weird. Edit. Asterisk. Holy fucking shit, this took off. I've been called out for incorrectly using the word groupthink, so please consider it used here to describe waves of many people doing the same very odd thing. The first escape room I did, we apologized for the mess we made as we were leaving, as we had piled everything up on the table in the center of the room, rather than returning everything to where we found it. I now understand why the escape room employee laughed. The guy gave some rules to us when we were doing the room. Monsieur, the first rule he gave us was, please keep your clothes on. Take off clothes, get kicked out. Room escaped. Winner. Well crap, I'd never know how to get out. The only way I deal with stressful situations is to get naked. Employee here. One group gave up after 5 minutes and decided to drink alcohol rest of the game. They paid €120 for the game. We did an escape room one time where there were these jars with severed limbs in them. Monsieur, when we got out, we commented to the guy running it that we found it interesting that the jars were cement glued shut, cement glued to the shelf, and the shelf screwed to the wall. Seemed like overkill to us. Well, apparently the reason they do this was because another group had managed to pry the jars away from the shelf and open the jars. This is about when they realized, watching the cameras, that something was going on. So they rush in to see what's up and he hears, "Guys, we have to drink the water." Quote, "The nasty part was the water was out of the local river a few blocks away. Just to get that dirty murky look. That is so hilarious. Like, what good could it do to drink it when you can just pour it out? They automatically refill if you try to do that without drinking them, duh. I don't work at Escape the Room. I work at Breakout Games. But it's the same deal. I had a couple in a handcuffed blindfolded room start feeling each other up until I said over the microphone, just a reminder that I can see you guys from 4 cameras in the room. If you need any hints, let me know." Quote, edit. Additional story. We had a customer try to put his finger in an outlet because he thought a key was in it. That isn't his fault because there are rooms that do this. But I was scared half to death. I don't understand why any escape room would put anything important in a place that normally is a hazard. I also had a woman look at books in a different one of our rooms and stopped her entire team in order to say, "Guys, all of these books have words and numbers. It totally means something." It didn't. Just a book. Edit. She ended up solving the hardest puzzles in the room, since she was so thorough. But she was really drunk and her tone with the book thing was hilarious. There's this bar near me that has a secret back room that everyone totally knows about. It's hidden behind a bookshelf next to the bathrooms. My friends and I were trying to get in, doing Scooby-Doo shit and pulling books out to see if it opened. Some other dude walks up, pulls on the clearly exposed door handle on the side of the bookcase. Edit. Since people are asking, the bar is circa 33 in East Portland. Similar situation with a bar I was in. Except it isn't well known. The bar staff said we have to find our own way in. Only after rescuing us from the cellar room once, and the electrical utility room twice, did they relent and show us the way. They now have locks on those other hidden doors. Joe's Crab Shack in Vancouver has a question mark painted on their utility closet door. While we were waiting to be seated, I wandered over and opened it up, looked over the buckets and mops, etc. The manager sounded surprised and annoyed when he asked me to close it, and I didn't say anything. But come on, I can't have been the first person to open that thing. Paint a question mark on a door, and I'm going through it. Edit. I should also note, their crab cracking utensils have stolen from Joe's Crab Shack printed on them apparently. People buy them sometimes, but you can guess what my inclination was upon reading that. I like the way you think. That could lead to all sorts of adventures. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.